All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 11. Were we on 12? Is it 11 or 12?
11.
11, thank you, Russ. Episode 11 of Vaporword Podcast with Cha Boys. Russ Pass, Peach, and Walt. That look of disappointment on Russ Pass's face every time I do this is amazing.
That look of disappointment was on my face before you said anything, Walt.
And it's been on your face for the last 10 years or plus of our friendship. So, Russ Pass, how you doing today, bud?
I've known you since before I was 20, but thanks for that.
Numbers are escaping me today.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in your number skills right now, but I'm excited.
Yeah. You know what number I do know we have, but we'll talk about that in a second. Peach, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm kind of curious about your numbers.
I want to guess. I'm going to guess before you say it. Is the number 0?
No.
Yeah, I thought it was the amount of tickets we got to All In.
No, it's 7.
7? Not 10?
No, 7. To roll into our pre-topic discussion point is just to discuss the results from Backlash. See? I know what I'm doing. This isn't my first rodeo. No, but so we got 2 things we're going to cover today on the podcast. One is we're going to go over who or like what person we think of when we talk about a specific championship. Be it like the example we threw out there, John Cena's WWE Championship spinner belt. Which person comes to mind when you think of that specific title?
You took my choice, Walt.
Yeah, well, I'm just throwing a couple examples out there for the audience so they know what's coming to them. But before we get into that, because we forgot to do it last week, let's quickly go over the...
Because you forgot to do it last week.
All 3 of us forgot to do it. It's not my podcast, it's our podcast when something goes wrong.
I didn't forget. I was purposely ignoring it.
Yeah, I can understand
with good
why.
reason.
So the one thing we're doing with these predictions now is we're going to keep track for the rest of the year. We're going to go from Backlash to WrestleMania and just see who can guess the most right. And right now I'm in a pretty strong lead. So
is 1 a strong lead?
6 is better than 7. Or 7's better than 6.
Oh, Christ.
Please stop using numbers, Walt.
Oh, man, this is going to be a great episode. But no, so we took all of our predictions. So I'll just kind of quickly go over that. So for the Rollins-Miz match, all 3 of us took Rollins. All 3 of us got that right. For the Nia Jax-Alexa Bliss match, all 3 of us picked Nia Jax to win. She won. For the Charlotte Flair-Carmella match, I picked Carmella. Dumb and Dumber over here picked Charlotte Flair to win.
She got robbed.
Carmella won. Huh?
She got robbed.
She did. So, I got the point there. The Reigns Samoa Joe match, Russ Pass and myself picked Reigns, Peachy picked Joe. The Styles Nakamura match.
Who won?
Reigns.
Oh, okay.
LOL. Like...
Well, you can't just say who you picked and not who won.
I think that was obvious enough.
I think he was literally asking you who won.
Yeah, probably that too.
I think I saw it.
I didn't watch it. So Styles Nakamura, Styles won the match. Russ Pass and myself picked Styles. You picked Nakamura. Orton Hardy won the match. Both Russ Pass and myself picked Hardy. Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Owens and Zayn. I guessed Kevin Owens. Peachy guessed Kevin Owens. Russ Pass picked Strowman and Lashley. So Russ Pass got the point there.
Thank you.
The only flaw in my what could have been a perfect card. Then the final one was Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. Peachy and myself picked Daniel Bryan. Russ Pass picked Big Cass, and Daniel Bryan won. So, overall, the pay-per-view was terrible, other than the Miz Rollins match. Styles Nakamura was getting better, but other than that, it was not a great pay-per-view. And I'm really hoping they don't continue. Did any of you guys actually watch it? Because we were recording when
I watched
it was going on.
About as much as we watched when we were recording. I think I watched a little bit of it. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie and say I watched it. I watched about as much as when we were recording.
Yeah, I watched most of it, but after we were done recording and Styles Nakamura went on not as the main event, which is I still don't understand. I was like, this is stupid, and just turned it off. I think I missed the Strowman Lashley match and the Reigns Joe match. But yeah, not a great pay-per-view.
I will say for all our fans out there, the 7 people who's paying attention to our predictions, if you notice there was a lot of Walton saying me and Rest Pass, you'll notice that a lot with Peachy not predicting the same and Peachy being wrong on most of those predictions. And just,
I'm sure if you're an avid listener of the podcast, you knew that anyway.
I think the last time I put in my predictions before I knew your predictions. I think for Backlash, I put in my predictions.
Oh no, I'm not saying you did it against us on purpose.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying on a pure knowledge standpoint.
It was more of a joke to make fun of you, not a statement of facts. But you know, we're not here to make fun of people today. Yeah, we're here to let's get to the main topic. And now I threw this one out there because I thought it would be a fun one, and I stole this from a Reddit post. Go ahead, Mike. You're raising your hand.
Well, no, yes. I want to say we connected it. You can lead into it, but before we start, I want to say where the connection actually lands.
Okay. So I saw this on Reddit a couple months ago, and someone posted on R Squared Circle, and I don't have the exact post, so I can't give credit to the author of the post, so I do feel kind of bad about that. But it was, what person do you think of when you see a specific championship? So the idea we threw out there before was John Cena's spinner WWE Championship belt. Which person, so we'll throw that out there as the first one. You, Scott, Peach, who do you think of when you see that specific title?
John Cena's spinner belt?
Yes.
Ric Flair. Who do you... Of course it's Cena.
Rest Pass, who do you... Yeah, this is a train wreck already. Well, good thing we're talking about John Cena, because wasn't he in Trainwreck?
Oh,
he was.
God.
Yeah, see, that's how you tie everything together. Rest Pass, who do you think of when you see that title?
Can I leave? John Cena. Do you really want me to pull somebody else out of my ass?
So I will say, and I don't know if this is dumb, for whatever reason, I think of Punk before I think of Cena.
No, you know what? I actually don't have Cena. I'm thinking of it now. I don't have Cena.
Yeah,
when I picture the title, I don't picture Punk though.
Who do you picture?
I picture The Miz. I loved when he had the title and he held it.
Upside down.
Yeah, he locked it in as an M.
Yeah.
That was awesome when he had that title. It technically wasn't a spinner anymore, but it was that title, and he just locked it in as an M. And I think, if I remember right, he did it to the title before he started doing it with the microphone. I could be wrong on that, but that's when he would turn the microphone thing upside down too. So instead of it being the W for the WWE, it would be an M.
And he still does that. I love that little touch he does.
Yeah, but I believe he did the title before the microphone, if I remember right.
I think that sounds about right. But yeah, I think of Punk for some reason. I know, Punk held the title longer. That title stayed in WWE much longer than it should have. But Punk held it he had the longest reign with that specific title. And he was the last one to hold that title, because then when The Rock won the title, that's when they kind of transitioned it into what the title looks like kind of now. But it was still a little bit different because it was only the WWE Championship. So that's kind of the gist of the topic. And now, Rest Pass. I knew you threw this out there to a bunch of social media platforms to get other people's opinions. You want to fill us in on what people are saying?
Actually, is not what I was referring to, but thanks, Walt.
I'm tying it.
Well, no, I was going to tie this topic into current events.
Oh, okay.
Because if you remember right, you brought this up, and I said it works wonderful because Cody Rhodes is actually it was announced at All In that he'd be competing for his father's title, the NWA Championship.
You have a way with words.
It was a tie-in of like, hey, look, this is a big deal for All In, the show we did not get tickets to and still do not have tickets to. If anybody wants to send us some. So it was kind of a tie-in with what was going on right now. It's not as random as Walton made it sound, even though it was random because he brought it up before I tied it in with that. So
yeah, we're like forcing a tie-in.
Yeah. But as Walton was saying, I put it out there on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook. Not necessarily the topic we're using, but I did. I asked people what was the title that they, like their favorite title, what they think of, whether it's design, their favorite wrestler held onto it for a while, just to kind of get an idea. Plus, it made me not have to write a list of 30 titles off memory, so thank you for that. Because it's going to be fun listening to Peachy's picks. I'm sure he's been sitting at home, taking notes, Googling.
He's got the old thinking cap on.
Yeah.
Candles burning at both ends.
He's got the old WWF magazine sitting there. He's looking up the titles. I know he's done his research, so I can't compete with that.
Shopping on Amazon right now.
I can't compete with that. So I needed the Twitterverse, the I guess Reddit verse and Facebook verse. There you go. I need a little bit of help. So we'll be using some of the suggestions from the people on there. Well, I will be anyway.
Yeah. So real fast before we start, what's your favorite titles? Like what if like your favorite individual title? Do you guys have a specific one that just comes to mind?
Like belt or just title?
Belt.
Like doctor.
Yeah. MD. PhD. No, yeah, like your favorite belt.
It's got to be the hardcore, the smashed up hardcore belt.
The smashed up winged eagle. That's what that would.
I'm shocked by that response, Peach.
Yeah,
I know.
I fully
you didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I did not expect that.
And so to start the topic off with that, Peach, who is the person you think of then when you think of the hardcore title? First person that comes to mind.
Probably Mick Foley. Al Snow. One of them two.
Fair enough. Russ Pass, what's yours?
What do I think of for the hardcore title, or what?
No. Your favorite? Yeah, what's your favorite title?
ECW television. It's always been the ECW television title, and it's not design as much as it's who held it.
I'm guessing Van Dam.
Yeah. Van Dam at one point. I mean, he was basically the face of ECW for a long time. And he was just the TV title. Like he was doing what Seth Rollins is doing right now. He was the main guy on the show. But if my memory serves me correctly, which I could be wrong, he never won the ECW heavyweight title until ECW was a part of WWE.
I believe that might be right.
I don't if I remember correctly, I don't think he ever won the world title there, which sounds a little bit like a shocker when you think of it, but
yeah, that's. Hold on, I'm looking it up now. What the hell?
I'll fill in while you're looking it up. Well,
I don't see him.
But yeah, he made that title almost feel like it was the main title for the show.
Yeah, so, Van Dam never won it until it was under the WWE brand, which is. Wow, that's kind of sad.
Which ties in the spinner belt, because he technically did not win the ECW world title. He won the spinner belt off Cena, and they gave him the ECW world heavyweight title.
And the only reason he kept Cena's belt was because he liked that it spun.
Yeah.
So no, I think my favorite title is. I like the ECW Championship. Like the main one, I always thought that was a cool looking title. But I guess probably the WWE Attitude Era Championship belt. The one I think it was initially given to Austin the night after WrestleMania 14. I think that's when it debuted. it was the belt they fought over at like WrestleMania 15, 16. I want to say 17, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But it was held by all the guys. It was the one that actually Jericho. Oh no, was that? I don't think that was the one that was. Oh yeah, that was the one right before the Undisputed Championship belt when Jericho became the Undisputed Champion. When he beat Rock and Austin in the same night to win both the WCW Championship and the WWE Championship.
I can tell you this much, Walt. You double-checked me on the Rob Van Dam facts. I'm just taking you at your word. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's. I'm pretty sure that's right. But the person I think of most when I think of that title is Triple H. I always think he looked one of the best with the title. His bodybuilder physique just worked with how big that title was. But yeah, go ahead. What? So for those playing the home game, since we don't have video, Russ Pass just kind of put his head in his hand and just looked.
They could not see how serious you were when you said it. His body, like you were into that, Walt.
He licked his lips and everything.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah, that's probably my favorite title, I think. But Triple H is the one I think of the most with it. So in prep for this episode, what we kind of said to each other was each person think of 5 different titles, and we'll just kind of go around and call out, Rest Pass, you can start it off, rattle off a couple titles. It'll be random, and we'll see who comes to both Peaches and I's first instinct when you bring up this title.
Well, I would start with the title I just said, but unfortunately, I feel like the same name's going to come to mind for both of you, so I'm not going to go with obvious. I will follow
the Buzzards.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll go with one that probably have a lot of options here. I'll go with my guy last on this. Okay, we'll go with the Intercontinental Championship.
Which one?
The white back, the current white back Intercontinental Championship. How about that?
Okay, the current one. Probably first name that comes to mind for me is Cody Rhodes, just because he was the one that debuted it. Brought it back to the white back. He pulled it out of like a brown paper bag or something. The Miz is another name that comes to mind just because of how often he's hold it, but I'd probably go with Cody Rhodes. You got Peach?
One of the nicknames for it's the White Ice.
I was gonna say he was trying.
Wikipedia
you did not talk long enough. He was trying to.
Wikipedia / list of IC champions.
No, that I already have all kinds of goofy stuff like that. I got just a whole bunch of the images of different belts up right now.
Well, Peach, when you hear this IC title, who do you think of?
Well, the Miz holding it, so frequently, recently. But Cody Rhodes, how long ago did they switch back to the white?
I want to say maybe 2009.
Oh wow, 10 years ago.
Maybe I could be wrong about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd probably think of the Miz with it because that's the only person I could really think of wearing it.
Not the current champion.
2011 is when the current one came into play.
2011, so 7 years ago.
2011.
Are you done, Peach?
Sorry, I was reading. Yeah,
okay.
I'll be done.
Yeah.
That you know what? That is perfect. That
sums up this show perfectly.
If you want to know what our show's all about, I'm going to direct him to right that moment. We're not going to cut it out. That moment where we read instead of talking. That's nice.
Yeah. Rest Pass, who do you have?
The Miz. I mean, that's half the reason why I picked that
title.
That edition of the title. Obviously, The Miz.
Nice.
I have no real reason other than The Miz is awesome.
Well, fair enough. He's going to.
Did he do anything to it? Did he switch over the thing, the W to an M on the IC title?
Nah.
Yeah, because he's not disrespectful. The spinner belt was a joke. He was allowed to do it to that.
But so, Peach, we'll keep going around. Who do you got? Name a title that you kind of wrote down, and then we'll see if we can spout off.
I didn't prepare for it the way you guys did.
I didn't prepare for it either. Thank you, Reddit. Everybody who responded to me on Reddit, on Facebook, on Twitter. Thank you. They helped me prepare.
They're the best. I don't know.
Well, I'll take. Here we go. So
I was excited to hear the titles you came up with, Peach.
Oh, man.
And you can't even come up with one. Just repeat the hardcore title. Ask us, Peach. No, Peach, ask us.
Who do you guys think of for the hardcore title?
Thank you. For the hardcore title, it's sad that I'm literally going to come up with the same person you had, Peach.
Oh man!
I obviously, when I think of the title, I think of Mick Foley. As much as I want to think of like Crash Holly or any of the 8,000 people that held that title in a 2-month span because of the 24/7 rule. Honestly, I think of the 24/7 rule before I think of anything else.
That was such a fun rule. It was so stupid, and it.
Could you imagine that now with social media the way it is right now? Like just having them like randomly doing it, like a hotel with a ref, just randomly, just popping up, like them saying anywhere, anytime, like right. It is set up. The WWE Network just randomly like cutting into a show just to be funny. Like, oh my god, somebody's going for it real quick, and then they just cut through like a random network show that's been on repeat. Like that would be hilarious. But
it really would.
I think of Mick Foley right away. Like right when I picture that title, it's got to be Mick Foley.
I think you said it, Crash Holly, or for some dumb reason, Godfather's Hoe.
That's not a dumb reason, Walt. It's a very obvious reason. It's the same way why you were talking about Triple H's physique.
Yeah, exactly. Probably Crash Holly, just because I do remember, because he was the one that initiated the 24/7 rule, I believe.
He was.
And then, so he did that, and then I remember the big payoff was, I forget, it might have been WrestleMania 2000, to where they did that, Battle Royal, or, like, 15-minute match to where it was like there were like 7 different title changes in that match, to where I think Hardcore Holly ended up winning by accident because the ref messed up the count or something like that.
Maven and Goldust and Spike Dudley.
I think there were like 167 different championship reigns with that title, but probably Crash Holly is the first one that comes to mind for me.
Did they just unified that into the IC? They just got rid of it?
Basically. I forget exactly what they did with it. It was. I forget who fought for it, and then they just combined it in with something else. So I'll throw out an oldie, which is kinda coming back in a sense with the UK Championship, but the WWE European Championship. It was always a personal favorite of mine. I thought the title was cool, and there were some of my early favorite wrestlers held that title. But who do you guys think of when you hear about the European Championship?
British Bulldog.
I don't know if he actually won it.
I don't think it was around for him, but
yeah. But
that's what I thought of.
This is going great.
British Bulldog was crowned the European champion in 1997.
Ah, damn it.
He fucking started it. Eat a dick.
Language, man. Oh, man. All right.
He was the first one to have it.
This is Rest Pass. Who do you think of?
I think it's CM Punk. All right, I'm sorry. Now, I'm picturing somebody with it, and I'm not exactly sure that he won it. I don't want to sound like Peachy.
I was very confident, and I was right.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay. D'Lo Brown. Don't know why.
Damn.
Don't know why he comes to mind when I picture a European title. I picture D'Lo Brown. Again,
Technically, him and
William Regal
are tied with the most reigns.
yeah, I just I pictured him with that title. I want to say he held on to it like around the Nation of Domination time, I believe. One of his reigns was around then. I think I could picture like them with multiple titles. I could be wrong about that, but when I think of it, I picture them. I had to make sure that it actually was the European title before saying it like PG. But yeah, D'Lo Brown.
For me, it's probably X-Pac is the main one. Just because at that time he was one of my favorite wrestlers. I remember him and Shane McMahon's match at WrestleMania 15 for the European Championship where Triple H came out and turned on DX. Then there's Triple H is another one that comes to mind. When, like, for whatever reason, I remember him with like the purple pants holding on to the European title. And then Al Snow, because I remember Al Snow's gimmick. He'd come out as a different European nation every week when while he held the title, and that was just stupid fun.
When we ask you what one person comes to mind when you think of the European title, if you had to choose out of any of them, who is it?
X-Pac.
Okay.
Yeah, X-Pac is the main one because I remember that just being X-Pac was one of my very early favorite guys when I started watching, and he was the European champion around that time that I remember. So,
and that's gone now, right? That's another one that's gone.
Yes, that got vacated. But I said it's kind of coming back in the UK Championship.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, it is deactivated. So, Rest Pass. Why don't you
go with my next one?
Why don't you go? Yeah, go with the next one. Let's.
All right, I got a quickie.
Give Peachy some time to research.
I got a quickie because I want Peachy to answer this first, and then we'll go to the real one.
Will
Peach, don't Google. I want to see your hands. Peach, who do you think of when you think of the NXT North American title?
NXT? Who'd we see? We saw when... What's his name went out?
Don't give it away. Walt.
Yeah, he's going to know this. For those playing the home game, we're on Skype, and I'm doing the hand gestures of
all right, Peach, don't
person.
worry about it. You ain't got to Google it. It's Adam Cole. He's the only.
Baby.
Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah, he's the only one. All right.
Oh, he's the only one to hold that?
Yeah, it's a new title.
Oh. Then I definitely wouldn't have.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want you to Google it. It would have popped up right away, and you would have said them. I'll go with... all right, a lot of people going through here, a lot of people pointed out the WCW title. I'm not going to go with the WCW World Heavyweight title. Not the big gold one, as it is. I'm going with it with the NWO spray painted on it. Who do you think of?
Hogan.
Yeah.
That's really it.
He's not the only one that held it. With the NWO
who else held it?
I'm almost... Well, obviously... I picture Goldberg. When Goldberg won it, it had NWO on it.
Did it really? That was in Atlanta?
He beat Hogan for it. Didn't it have it on it still?
I don't know.
I don't think they wiped it away to give it to him.
They definitely won enough. I do not know that.
I think of Goldberg. I know it was going to be a quick, easy one. I figured you were going to go with Hogan. I think of when I picture that title, I picture Goldberg with it. I could be wrong, but I can't see any reason why. I picture him holding it. I don't think they kept it on there for him to hold it, but I'm pretty sure when he won it.
Yeah, when he won it, if that was because he beat Hogan for it in Atlanta, right? Or did he beat Hogan or Nash?
He beat Hogan for it.
Okay.
He beat him on Nitro, and that's where everybody made the big deal that, hey, this is your big pay-per-view match, and you're putting it on Nitro.
On Nitro. But that was in that was the Atlanta match, right? In Hogan's, not in Goldberg's hometown.
Yeah.
To where like it was basically the Georgia Dome. I think they sold out the episode of Nitro for. I didn't realize that was the NWO title he won.
That's like I said. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously Hogan had it. Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now, just so I don't feel stupid about it.
Who initially spray painted it? Was it Hogan or was it Flair?
It was Hogan. Flair was. I don't think Flair was ever in the NWO. I could be wrong. I'm not gonna, because everybody at some point was like
Rolled
in the
through it.
NWO.
Peach, all I can say is thank you. When we started this, I'm actually being relatively serious here, whether or not it comes off that way, because I'm still kind of laughing. This is what I hoped for you to sound like at every episode, and you have posed as an actual wrestling fan for 10 episodes, and I give you credit. And I'm so thankful that we finally found a subject. And it's not a knock on you, Peach. It's not meaning to sound that way. I know
This
it's
is
coming
what
off
we
that
hired
way.
you for.
I'm still trying to think like who originally spray painted it.
It was Hogan. I'm pretty sure spray painted it. I forget whose reign it was that he spray painted. I thought it was before they won it, and like he defiled the championship. And then when he did win it, that's when he kind of said, "This is." And he had them even announce like, oh god,
Because at one point it was spray painted red, right? NWO in red, and then it became
Do you know
NWO
why?
in black. No,
Do you know why? Because of the Wolf Pack.
But that wasn't originally in red.
Yeah, it wasn't. No.
But it was black.
Actually, it wasn't the title. What they used to do, I'm not sure if this is what you're referring to. What they used to do was they would spray paint yellow, if I remember right, down the guy's back. Who I forget who they were feuding with at the time, and it was a yellow streak down his back. And then it turned into them writing the NWO on people's backs after they beat them down. But I could be wrong. I know at one point there was a yellow used as like a yellow streak. Saying he's yellow. But for a while there, they were spray painting on people the NWO in black. And that's where that kind of became a thing. And then the title got spray painted. But actually, if my memory serves me correctly, which it probably does not, Goldberg was it the United States title?
Yeah,
he was
so
the U.S. champion when he won.
And that's when he won both of them, he had to relinquish the U.S. title.
Yeah.
So he never lost the U.S. title.
Because that's what I'm picturing. I remember him holding two titles, and I didn't know if it was an NWO title or a regular title, but it was the U.S. champion he was at the time.
Yeah, it was the U.S. championship.
Okay. But yeah, for some reason, that's where I see it more prominently. Like, I remember him holding it, and it had NWO on it. As weird as that sounds, a guy that was never a member of the NWO. That's why I asked the question, because Goldberg pops up to mind.
I'll go with the next one, and it's not. We kind of already talked about it, and it is also, like, I realize it is one of my favorite championships, but I'm going with the Attitude Era Intercontinental Championship. So, not obviously the current one, or like it was that middle one. I forget. It was basically used in the Attitude Era. The one guy I mainly remember wearing it for me was Ken Shamrock. Even though Jericho, I know he had a bunch of reigns with it, because I don't think he ever won the new IC title. But Ken Shamrock, for whatever reason, is the one guy that comes to mind when, like, just him wearing the title. Maybe it's because of the way he looked or how it was, but
His physique?
His physique, yes, there we go. But that's the guy that I think of when I think of that individual title. Peach, who do you think of?
That's the one, black strap, blue globe in the middle.
Yes.
That's the one I think I associate Jericho with.
Okay.
That like, I don't know if it's his physique or whatever, but that one's a Jericho.
Way to make it weird. Man. Respass, who you got? Do you know which title I'm talking about?
Yeah, unfortunately, you took my pick. The only other guy I can picture with it, I originally think of Shamrock. That's who pops to mind. But when I think of the title, Val Venus comes to mind, but it's
physique.
It's Shamrock.
Yeah.
Yeah, Val Venus' physique.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's Shamrock, and just a king. One of the matches that comes to mind with this title for me is the ladder match between The Rock and Triple H at SummerSlam '98. I think that's where it was. That match comes to mind for me whenever I think of this title. Because that was, I think, right around the time when I really started getting into wrestling and things like that, and that match just has kind of always stuck out in my head because I thought it was a great ladder match.
That was still the workhorse belt back then, too, right?
It's always the workhorse belt. You and your smart terms.
You're trying to get back in the good graces of everything, Peach?
Yeah.
No, like I'm just looking
Peach,
through
let's
champs.
Let's go in your good graces. What title? Give us a title.
Women's.
Which one?
Divas.
Those are two different titles.
Yeah, women's title and Divas are two different ones. Which one?
Well, the Divas, the women's title, the Divas.
Jesus.
Which title? You're talking about the butterfly? The Divas butterfly belt?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to take this one. I
go, Russ.
Paige. I picture Paige with it. Yeah. I don't know if there's any real reason that title should have been wiped from my memory. If I didn't just lead Peachy to it, he would have just kept saying women's and divas. But now I'm pretty sure I know that title is such a luxurious, prestigious title. But that's the title that she beat AJ Lee for. And as much as I could say AJ Lee, Paige is who comes to mind when I think of that title.
Kelly probably for me, because I think that best signifies what that title means. Not great wrestling and hot blondes that they can just hire and possibly teach how to work. Again, that's not every person that held that title, because there were some actually great competitors and wrestlers that held it.
Who retired it? Did Charlotte retire it?
Yes.
And then it became the women's.
Yes. Do you remember when she did that?
We were there.
Good job, because you just looked it up online.
No, there's a picture of all of them in front of it, unveiling the new one.
The new one. Who do you think of, Peach, when you think of the Divas title?
I guess the Bella, one of the Bellas, whoever held it, forever.
I think they both did, I think.
All right.
Technically, Nikki held it the longest.
All right, so Nikki Bella. That was like the low point of wrestling. Of the women's wrestling,
So, I'm going to just say this. So, I'm just going to say this now real fast. And Pass, I don't know how you feel about it, but if this episode doesn't get a lot of downloads, I'm fine with it because of the enjoyment factor I'm having right now with PG. This is an episode for us. This is an episode for us.
I will say, to try to get back on topic, I think Paige's outfit is actually why I think of the title.
You're a creep.
What? She wore purple. That title was a purple butterfly. I mean,
her physique.
Yes.
Physique.
Yes. Okay, are we on me?
Pick your next one.
All right, I'm done messing with you, Peach. All right, does that sound good? I will go to one that I'm not quite sure that you're going to even know, and this is not on purpose. It's just because I don't want to stick with WWE for too long. Go with the X Division Championship. Which title? Does it really matter? Peachy's not going to get this right anyway.
When you say X Division, for some reason, Suicide comes to mind. But it's either Suicide or Styles. Suicide was the first one that popped in my head when you said X Division. Yeah, I'll go Suicide.
All right, Peach, you still need time to look this up.
No.
Yes,
Well,
he does.
I was about to say I probably don't have a fucking clue.
It's TNA. If you need that help.
Yeah, to refine your Google search.
Well, I have the
Respace,
images up.
Who do you think of?
Who do you think? Is this for me or?
For you. Just so we can move the topic along.
I actually, I weirdly think of Samoa Joe, and I think it's because it stood out because he wasn't the prototypical X Division. X Division was, whether they want to say it or not, it was essentially their cruiserweight, light heavyweight. It was the flippy shit.
Yeah.
They had the goofy ring, right?
TNA did, yes.
The 6-sided ring, yes. It stood out to me because Samoa Joe was kind of like, which I know he's very athletic for his size, but he wasn't the prototypical X Division champion when you think of that title. So it's always stood out to me whenever I think X Division. It goes right to Samoa Joe.
Huh. I did not know. I'm looking up some of the facts on it too. Chris Sabin has the most reigns at 6.
Really?
Suicide. The Ultimate X match was always a cool match to watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's what I think. Definitely, like raised that title. To me, that title was more impressive than the TNA World Championship, just because it was something different. That match was awesome.
And I'm assuming if you're listening to this, most likely you've watched it. So I'll explain this to Peach. I'm sure you probably just Googled it when he said it. But are you looking at it right now, Peach? Or do you need an explanation of what it is?
Looking at what?
Explain what
the Ultimate X match was.
Yeah. Oh, right.
It was essentially... calling it a ladder match isn't fair to it. And I could be wrong too. Well, I'm picturing the right thing. It hung the same way that a ladder match did, but they had the
There were ropes.
There were ropes.
Basically an X, there was scaffolding around the ring, and there was ring ropes that went into an X shape.
And then basically climb across.
Title, yeah, they had to climb across, and the title was hung in the middle of the right where the X intersected.
Yeah. So it was a crazy ass ladder match without the ladders, pretty much. Yeah, that was always a fun match to watch.
Yeah, I'm reading on it now.
Nice.
There was a weight limit. The weight limit was 230.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was basically their cruiserweight division.
All matches are triple threat matches.
And they also had the thing with it. I forget if it's still in use, but you could trade in your X Division championship for a World Championship match. Yep. So Sabin did it. Aries did it. I think Aries did it actually against Bully Ray. I think that's where Aries won the title, the TNA World Championship. But I liked that that aspect of it, to where you can hand in your X Division title and get an opportunity at the World Championship. I wish WWE would do something like that.
Yeah, they made it basically what the Royal Rumble was meant for, or the King of the Ring, like that type of stuff, where it was almost supposed to be the launching point, like, hey, this guy's ready for the main event.
Exactly.
And yeah, they've used it. I mean, honestly, they could, like this UK tournament and stuff like that, when they do stuff like that, again, it would essentially be the King of the Ring. But yeah, even if it's not a title, but it's a
Money in the Bank.
Well, yeah, but that's different. Like the X Division champion can't just say, all right, I'm bringing a ref out, I'm going to beat him down now. It was for a title opportunity. It's essentially the Royal Rumble winner is what WWE has it. But it was meant more, and again, my TNA knowledge is very limited. So Walt, while you were looking at it, it was basically meant as a launching point for guys. Like you weren't going to see, like Kurt Angle was not winning the X Division title, even if he weight limit wise he could, because there's no point. It wasn't meant for the top guy there to go win the X Division title to get a championship match.
Yeah, well, Angle did win the title at one point.
But I'm saying that wasn't the point of
because pulling it up, Angle. It was like Angle was TNA World Heavyweight Champion, so it was one of those. It was the Angle Joe.
Yeah, and it's eventually. I mean, eventually you're going to hit repeats. You're going to hit those guys, but that's not the. It's almost like the Royal Rumble. I don't think the Royal Rumble was meant to be. At least I don't think it was. I think it was meant to be a launching point for a guy, and then if you don't have anybody that's ready, then it's like, oh, okay, well, Reigns hasn't won it yet. We'd like to see him in the titles. Let's put him in there, kind of thing.
Yep. So my next title, I'll go with. Let me see. What do I have? Let's go with a good old classic, the Winged Eagle WWE Championship. So the one right before the Attitude Era belt. Who do you guys think of when you hear or see that title? Who are you pointing to? Your screen might be laid out different than me, Respass. Peachy, who do you think of?
Oh, before Attitude, when did you say Attitude kicked off? 97?
WrestleMania 14.
And that would be what year?
I don't know. Respass, who do you think of?
That's what I was pointing to Peachy. The thing that's toughest about this title for me is that and the Attitude Era title kind of it mixes together in my mind. Like, unless I'm that's the worst part about it. Like, the Attitude Era title and that it was relatively similar. I know it's not the same title.
The Attitude Era basically was a evolution of that Wing title.
It's so similar.
I'll go with mine just to kind of make it easy. It's Shawn Michaels. The whole Boyhood Dream. I think it was WrestleMania 13. He won that from Bret Hart. I think that was the Iron Man match. Him sitting there in the ring. I just bought a T-shirt off of Pro Wrestling Tees that basically recreates that image of Michaels just sitting in the ring holding that title. That's the main one that comes to mind when I think of that. When anybody brings up that title, that's the one I think of.
All right, I'll go with mine now that I'm probably getting a better idea of when this was. I got Ultimate Warrior.
Okay.
That was the title he beat off Hogan.
Yes.
Well, he didn't beat off Hogan, but the title he won, the title that he won from Hogan.
Yes.
There's very few matches in my lifetime that I can say I know where I was when I watched it. That was a match I knew where I was when I watched it. Coincidentally, if I remember correctly, Ultimate Warrior was also the Intercontinental Champion.
Yep.
So I find it funny that two of mine that I'm thinking of was a guy who already had a mid-card belt beating the champion. And it was actually two of the unbeatables, Ultimate Warrior and Goldberg. But I remember the match more than the title, but I remember him holding the title up. But that match just sticks. I think anybody who ever seen it as a wrestling fan as a kid, that match sticks in your mind. It was a wonderfully wrestled match. I'm sure if Meltzer rewatched it, he would give it 7 stars. I mean, it is.
Nah, he'd give it 4 3/4 just to piss people off.
It is such a beautifully told story in the ring.
Wow, you sound. How are their physiques during it?
I didn't look at them. I was not being sarcastic. Huh?
Actually, he has it as a white strap.
If I remember correctly, he had multiple colored straps.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
I remember when I think of Warrior with the Winged Eagle belt, I think of him with the baby blue strap.
Yeah, that's looking at it right now. He had a white one. He had a baby blue one. I think there might have been a purple one. There's a light purple one. So yeah,
I'm wondering if that was when he was the Intercontinental as well, and he put a white strap on it.
Well, either way, he decided to put different straps on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Peach, now that you've had adequate time to Google search this championship, who do you think of?
I guess it's Hogan. Like, that's the one when he was biggest, and him, when he was WWF, like before the Attitude Era, him holding that belt, the whole Hulkamania thing, that was all right around there. I just found like a picture with all kinds of people that have worn it, and like I see like the Yokozuna wearing it. But I guess I think a Hogan with that one as well.
Because was that the first Google return search?
No.
I expected this
the first
to be easier.
Google return is Shawn Michaels.
I expected this to be easier.
That's why you call me a filthy casual.
See, I would have thought Shawn Michaels, but his head was over top of the title. In the image that I'm thinking of, so I can't picture the title.
I just picture, maybe it's more that moment.
Yeah.
But I know that was the title that Michaels was holding.
It's funny because like I said, I did the same thing with the Goldberg and the Ultimate Warrior. I don't know that I remember the title on them as much as I remember the moment and them holding the title up. So, but yeah, it's just funny how your mind works that way. Like you said, you're not picturing, if you picture a title, you're not picturing it on him. You're picturing him laying, kneeling down with his head on the title.
But I know that's the title, he had there, I guess. Yeah.
There's a picture of Andre the Giant with it on, and it is tiny.
Well, yeah. So yeah. Are there any other major titles you want to just bring up real fast as we kind of wind down this episode?
Me?
Well, yeah, any of you guys, like any.
Me. This is Respace talking. That's the me.
Yeah, Respace. Yeah. Do we want to go with just one last big one? You raise your hands. You're excited. So.
All right. Well, I don't want you to spoil it, Peach. Hands up. Who do you think of when you think of the FTW
for the
World
win?
Heavyweight title?
Mike Respace.
Walton?
Taz.
Thank you.
You brought it up earlier. That's the only reason why. I can't think of the title.
I even said, I'm pretty sure I said earlier, Taz is FTW, and Peachy made the same joke.
Yeah, but I can't even think of the title.
It was an orange strap. It had big ass FTW in it.
It has Taz's name on it.
Yes, Taz. FTW.
Well, I will say that Taz is the one guy I think of when I think of the ECW championship, when it was in ECW, not WWE's version. Not a direct correlation to the FTW championship, but
all right, and I'll go with a real one since that was more of a joke. I just want to see what PG say. Let's stick with that.
Let's go.
That theme.
Actually,
the ECW
I was
WWE version.
Which version of the belt?
The crappy one, not the Rob Van Dam winning, trying to look exactly like ECW's. I'm talking about sci-fi ECW title.
I go with Jack Swagger because I felt like it always looked awkward on him.
Was that the purple one?
I'm pretty sure it was silver.
It was silver, but there were accents of purple on the belt, I believe.
Yeah, like ECW, they wrote in purple.
Maybe. So for those playing the home game, it looks like people are we're Google searching now. So this is great podcast.
What do you mean I'm next? I thought we were done.
Well, no. Who do you think of?
Who do you think of when you think of ECW? No, it was all silver. By the way, it was silver with black.
Was it? I thought. Yeah, I thought I vaguely remember. Like when you say purple, I thought I remembered it. But who do you think of when you think of that title, Peach?
ECW under WWF.
Yes.
Are you? No, he's speaking out what he's typing in his Google search right now.
I'm not typing.
He's using Siri.
Because, like, I guess Rob Van Dam, like, because he was like the main one when they came over, and they let Rob Van Dam do whatever he wanted in that division.
Yep. So Rob Van Dam never actually held this title.
Did he?
Not this specific one. Dreamer held the title, which was a fucking disgrace.
Hold on. But
Dreamer,
Rob Van
I
Dam
don't-
never won the title I'm talking about currently.
I believe so. I do not think Rob Van Dam ever won
Yeah.
that specific title.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing.
Okay. That's okay. We're on the same page then.
Okay. I will say I picture Mark Henry with it. Is actually who I pictured with it.
Yeah.
I'd say him or Lashley. Honestly,
I didn't think Lashley held that title.
I thought he did.
held.
Didn't he win? Didn't they have their Elimination Chamber? Didn't he win that?
Yeah, but that was for the WWE's version of the ECW title that looked like the original ECW championship one. It was the one Rob Van Dam got, I thought. Was the... Because when he fought at WrestleMania for Trump, when it was the Trump versus McMahon
Yeah,
hair
you know
versus
what?
hair
You're
match,
right. You're right.
yeah, that was the one last year.
Yeah.
So I don't think Lashley
Yeah,
ever
so
held that one.
Mark Henry. Mark Henry's who I think of.
Yeah, I think it actually got introduced with Mark Henry. I think for some reason I remember Teddy Long giving it to him.
Peach, say Christian.
Christian.
Okay.
That's a good one. That's a good
Yeah.
point, Pete.
Yeah. Peach,
Christian-
do you have any specific memory of Christian holding this title?
Well, probably.
Well,
if-
there's
if I know,
7 images. And
I know,
it's next
the
to
one-
one made out of Legos.
I know the match Peachy's probably thinking of is the last ECW championship match where it was Christian defending the title against Ezekiel Jackson. And Ezekiel Jackson won the match, and the title was retired, and so was Ezekiel Jackson's career. Little known stipulation for that match.
That was a barn burner of a match.
Oh god! I will say for the initial WWE ECW championship run, I think of Punk, because Punk held the title, and Punk was the one guy that he seems like he would have fit the mold of the old ECW days. His gimmick, the way he wrestled, he would have fit right in there with the old ECW guys. I feel.
That was that feud was him and Burke
Yes,
in ECW, right? That was
I believe so. Yes.
that was one of the few bright spots of the sci-fi ECW.
And I believe the Elimination Chamber match you're thinking of, Punk walked in as the champion and lost it there, I think. And he was like the first one eliminated or something like that. I believe that's what happened there.
Yeah, that was the hardcore Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, this December to Dismember or whatever, the worst WWE pay-per-view of all time, had like 98,000 buys. But I will say, well, let's end this with a big one, not just the ECW one. Let's go with the big gold, the WCW championship, which I think
without NWO on it.
without NWO, just the original one, because I think to me that is one of the most iconic championships out there. That when anybody, if you show somebody a title like that title, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's a wrestling title," or something like that. Like they might not know it's WCW or anything like that, but that big gold title, I think is like kind of signifies to me like kind of pro wrestling. But so who do you think of when you think of that one?
I'm gonna jump on that before you could say it, Walt. And I picture Booker T.
5 times.
I
Fair
don't
enough.
know why, but when I think the title, I picture it shouldn't be Booker T. It really shouldn't.
Well,
in
he
all
was
defense
the...
to Booker T, it should not be
Wasn't
Booker T
he-
when I think of it. But
He was the last one to hold it, right? Because it was him versus Bagwell that episode of Monday Night Raw where they tried to introduce WCW. I think he was the last outgoing champion when WCW was bought. So,
Well-
Peach, who do you think of? Because I'm assuming you know that title.
Right. That's either like Flair or Sting. Probably more Flair.
Yeah,
in-depth analysis.
yeah. I go Goldberg. Like, it's not a creative answer. Actually, I thought about this one before, and there was a person that came to mind, and I didn't want to say it, but I will say it just because of the embarrassment.
David Arquette.
David Arquette, yeah.
What was that movie called?
Ready to Rumble. But I think that truly signifies WCW in a nutshell. Towards the end.
Yes.
They were more fun.
Yeah, we'll go with fun. Nah, but Goldberg's probably the main one I always envisioned with the title. Again, it's the physique. It was his build, how he looked with the gold. It looked great on him.
That one's more like a boxing belt, right? Like it's more shaped after like what the boxers.
No, I wouldn't say so. I think
I don't really watch that Fox baking.
I would say maybe
stuff.
a little bit more UFC-ish.
Yeah.
Boxing titles, I think for the most part, look a little bit
mean,
like the old Eagle belt. Like the boxing titles, they have the colorful straps.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they look like? It looks like the North American title now. Like I think that
medallions and looser.
That reminds me of a boxing title.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's probably one of the most widely recognized championship belts out there. But yeah, so overall, I think this was a fun topic.
Yeah. I can't wait for part 2 because we already took all the titles we know about. We should get a little bit prepared next time for some. Well,
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is something we can do every now and then, like like the Peach Pit, every month. Well, not every month, but every couple months.
We should do this and
every
ask
10
Peachy
episodes.
the same titles 2 months from now. Let's go. Episode 22, right now. We're going to ask Peachy the same titles we asked him now and see if he's learned anything.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So, but this is it was enjoyable. I am watching more like New Japan and Ring of Honor on a more consistent basis, and I do want to incorporate some of these titles into it.
Yeah, it would be tough. I mean, honestly, no offense to Peachy, but I think Peachy understands that his knowledge is a little limited on even like more casual fan stuff. So when me and you don't really know for the most part the champions, like we would be going with current guys and that would just not be interesting. But I agree with you. I'm kind of the same mode because we've been doing this, and as much as WWE's mainstream and it's most likely what people want to listen to, I'd like to get a little bit outside of my comfort zone. So while we're doing this, I'm trying to go back and watch some of the stuff. So I have it's called their Honor Club, is the Ring of Honor one. I want to go back and watch some of the old Punk matches, especially against Samoa Joe. Some of the Daniel Bryan matches, some of the Samoa Joe matches. Samoa Joe's their longest reigning Ring of Honor champion. I think at maybe 700 days or 600 something days or something like that. Well, since Peachy hates Meltzer so much, maybe this will be one of my things I throw out there to people as a request for non-WWE, WCW, ECW matches
to watch.
That people were entertained at with Yaku. Maybe I'll leave that out there. Maybe we can actually do, as much as I didn't want to do current review stuff, maybe we can, it'll help us get into non-WWE stuff and
topic. Well, we do have a upcoming topic of that will be heavily non-WWE coming up soon.
That was the point of all this, Walt. You know what? I'm 2 steps ahead of you. All right.
Well, that's not too.
But go ahead, continue.
Well, yeah, I think in a couple weeks we're going to discuss the Omega Okada trilogy, since number 4 is coming up at, I think, Dominion on the 9th. I think that's when it is. But yeah, discuss the trilogy of matches, discuss the other Okada and Omega matches, just because of that's really what got me into watching a lot more of the New Japan stuff when that first Omega Okada match happened, and it was getting rave reviews online, and I was like, I gotta watch this if it's getting that much attention, and it was fucking incredible. But we'll leave that as a talking topic in a couple weeks. We'll try to get that out right before Omega Okada 4 happens.
Yeah, we're looking at episode 13, I believe.
I think that sounds about right.
We may have a special guest because
Did you talk to him?
Yeah, he seemed maybe. I mean, I'm not going to throw his name out there. We'll call him out if he doesn't come on here.
Yeah.
But we have a buddy that probably pays a little bit more attention to these matches. I will admit I have never seen any of them. I'm going in absolutely fresh watching these matches leading into us talking about it, so it'll be nice, to actually sit down and watch something that the most I've seen. Did you have it on at your house before WrestleMania, Walt?
Oh, no, I think I had Omega Jericho on.
No, you had Styles Nakamura.
I had Styles Nakamura.
That's what it was. Okay, yeah. So I don't even think I've seen a little
Styles
bit of
Nakamura from Wrestle Kingdom 12 or 11.
Who would have known we would have got that match 12 more times after watching it at your house?
It's been getting better. So, anything else? Any closing remarks from the both of you guys on this episode? What do you guys think of this episode, Peach?
Yeah.
It is his favorite.
Did you guys see the last link I sent?
No.
It was a nice winged eagle tattoo. Guy got his whole stomach. Got the winged eagle belt tattooed on his stomach.
While we're podcasting, this is what
Peachy's
Peachy
surfing
knows.
the internet.
I do have a comment before you awkwardly sign us off, Walt.
Right.
Last week, we not only did we miss talking about the Backlash results, but we did kind of weirdly discuss our second review that we got on iTunes, and I just wanted to kind of go over it so it wasn't brutally misquoted like it probably was last week from listener of podcasts. He mentioned we're doing a good job. He had a request plus an insult of Walton all in one, which was nice. He asked us to turn down Walton's mic, which, whoever you are, we ask him all the time to turn it down to 0, and he will not listen to us. It says his voice is way louder than the mics, which we don't have that high of a voice. Yes, no. It's the high voice. It has nothing to do with soft spoken. You still are in that time of your life.
Yeah.
He's just a little guy.
Yes, we heard you. We probably have not changed a damn thing because Walton gets to adjust all the volumes because he's the one that edits this together, so he needs to be in the forefront of this.
And I'm narcissistic, so...
Yes. This is his show. We're just on it.
For when the good stuff happens.
Yeah.
But it's our show when the bad stuff happens.
PG actually talks a lot. He just doesn't understand how to talk in a microphone.
Right.
True that. So, no, yeah, keep the reviews coming in. Thank you. Thank
you, listener of podcast.
Listener of podcast. I that's awesome. We got reviews.
We do.
That's pretty exciting.
It was not me this time. I swear.
Good. Thank you. Pete, you have anything you want to sign off on?
No.
Skype.
Yeah, I'm just going to hang up. Tell me how you close it.
Yeah, I guess until next week. We didn't figure out our topic for next week, right?
No, we usually wait until the day before. That's how prepared we are.
I was prepared. I wrote down a whole list of titles.
Well,
I was working on my lawnmower.
Social media got me prepared, and I still wasn't.
Yep. So, until next week, guys. Listen,
follow, like, subscribe,
share, review,
text PG,
insult Walton.
Yes, insult Walton. Please insult Walton.
His
head is getting way too big.
Ladies, Walton is single.
Yep.
Yes, shockingly, that doesn't change week after week.
He has shared interest. He also enjoys men's physique.
Oh, man, that might just be the outro. But, yeah, until next week, everyone, we hope you have a good week, and we will catch you next time. Later, guys.